Hello, hello. Welcome to our live stream. I am Rachel Archelaus coming in with a bang, and this is Carrie Roldan, your business BFF. To be honest, my friends, we are here today to hype you up. We're here today to also calm you down because
get hyped. Now relax.
Exactly. Yes, totally that. Because I feel like that's what we often need. We need to bolster our confidence. We need to excite ourselves. We need to get excited about this life that we're living and all the potential out there in the world to have fun, to be supported, to do the things we want to do. And then we need to relax into ourselves and know, yeah, I've got this. I can do it. Let's try something out. So we're going to go through all the stages today of how to not swat away the path of least resistance, because so often we'll receive an idea and it'll be like, oh yeah, that'd be fun. And then boom, there it goes like a mosquito. I can't do that. I can't afford it. I don't have time for that. That's not me. It wouldn't make my partner happy. Fill in the blanks.
It's
right?
too hard. It's going to be complicated. At least for me, these are mine. These are my stories. Oh my gosh, so many moving parts. It's overwhelming. I'll think about it later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what is yours? We want to know. The thing I love, I was thinking about this the other day, is that you can trust yourself. You understand what would make you happy. And this is at a fundamental level, right? A deep down inside fundamental level. And if we all took steps about what would make us happy, we'd be happy. We'd be really, really happy. It's just that our local mind gets involved and puts a lot of steps in between. It adds garbage on top of the pile. It, puts up stop signs and yields and detours, and we get confused and we think that is a given. We don't question that, because where are we taught to not question that? All over the place. It's like, think it out. What are the pros and cons? Be logical, be rational. It didn't work for that person, so it's going to be really hard for you. So we are just here today to go around, go back up to your higher self, who has the master plan anyway, and follow through with who you know you are. I am wearing my Honeybee Tennessee sweatshirt today because from when I was 2 years old, I've been gardening and sewing and doing all of these things that like a pioneer would do, or let's say more like a Native American, because I have Native American heritage and they were a lot nicer. And I just always kind of knew like that lifestyle was really appealing to me. That was before we had, or I was aware of the word like homesteader or anything like that. But as I grew up, I know I want to live on a farm. I want to have a lot of land. I want to have like a mud house with no electricity. And like, that was totally my thing. And then eventually that turned into, I like the idea of van life and I want to buy some land and like set up, a little camp. And I went through with a lot of that stuff. Like I got my van, I traveled around in an RV. I went to the homesteading convention in Tennessee, which is where I got this sweatshirt. And I thought I knew the life that I wanted. I thought that it meant like being single and having my land and having my van and setting up my whole camp and doing that whole thing. But it turns out that when I went to go do that, I was really happy. I was really into it. I was really excited. And then I also missed my regular life. I also missed my family, my cats, electricity, who knew is kind of fun because we get to do stuff like this. And so when I really got down into it and noticed, hey, I can have all of the things that I want. I don't have to pick and choose. I don't have to have a shit sandwich, as Elizabeth Gilbert would say. I don't have to have any buts. I get to have my full garden with my canning of salsa and blackberry jam and apricot preserves and my grow lights in the basement and all the things that I want, and love and family and security and all the things. Like, oh, we get to have it all. That's really interesting. And so the point of why I told you all that is because if you were given the answer before you start the journey, which we all are, to be honest, we all know we can have it all. That's what our higher self is constantly saying to us. You can have it all. But if we think that it's too overwhelming, we think there's no way possible that we can have all the things that we want. And so we're given a path that is one thing at a time. For me, it was like the whole life of gardening and sewing and doing all that. And then, oh, van life. And then, oh, homesteading convention. And then, oh, blah, 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 blah. So one idea at a time, which is why we need to be receptive to our higher selves little steps for us, because it knows where we want to go. And so if we can lighten up, relax enough, and take one step at a time, we're going to get to where we have it all. But we can't get too in our head about it because it's going to look like a really crazy journey. And it never ends. It's not like now that I have all of the things I wanted before that I'm never going to want anything again. No, of course, my vision's expanding and I'm getting that too. So again, hyping you up and calming you down.
Well, I love the conversation around this, and especially like processing your journey with you, and like going on this ride with you and remembering how, like each phase of the journey felt like this is the one thing. This is my one thing. It's my one thing that I want. And I actually really like that because you can have it all. I know this, right? And when you said we all know this, I feel like, I don't know if we all know this, right? But we all want to believe it. And our higher self knows it. And we get in these like moments of knowing. And then our personalities often take over. But what was striking me when you were talking about your journey and your homesteading and all of that is, yes, you landed here. You got yes and, right? Instead of either or, instead of yeah, but, you got yes and. And that's the thing. Like, it's so fun watching you discover new things that you didn't know that you would want or like, and new aspects of your personality that you kind of didn't know existed, right? Like you continue to allow more good in. And so having it all, I mean, we were talking about, like, we're just really here to like hype you up today and say like, you can do it. But as we're talking about this conversation of having it all, like that actually can feel a little overwhelming to me, like all of it. It reminds me of when Abraham talks about, you don't want to eat all the food you're ever going to eat in your life, like today. I get a little bit of that sense. And I also, the you can do it aspect. Let's go back to that for a second. What is helpful for me is to now know when I get an inspired idea, I can do it. It is for me. And that I don't have to. And how do I know if I had an inspired idea? It's because it doesn't feel like I thought of it. It feels like it, for me, it feels like this. Like it feels like it comes from here and it kind of just like bubbles up. And it kind of feels like, oh, wouldn't it be so amazing if, or that would be so cool. Like, it's not like, oh, you know what I'm going to do next, right? It just has it has this feeling of openness and possibility. And what I have learned over these past several years is that's enough. Like, that's actually enough, is that when I get that feeling, I can let myself get excited. But it's usually, I have issue with the word excitement. As you know, excitement and anxiety are a little too closely linked for me. So For me, it's like just, it feels open. It feels possible. It feels joyful. It feels alive. It feels like that would be really fun or that would be really cool. But it feels a little distant from where I am now. What I've learned though is that if I can just allow that seed to grow inside of me. So just the other day, my daughter swallowed a cherry pit and she said, "Am I going to die?" And I was like joking with her. I'm like, "No, but one day you're going to open your mouth and a tree's going to grow up." And I was like, "Just kidding. You'll poop it out." But it's sort of that feeling, right? Of like, okay, that is how it works, is that I swallow the cherry pit and that like, okay, I had the idea. Oh, it felt good to think about it. And then I go on with my life, relaxing as much as possible, letting it come in and think about it when it feels good. And then one day I open my mouth and oh my gosh, a cherry tree. Like there it is. There's the thing. And I have had so much resistance in my life around so many things that I really wanted. And in spite of all of my resistance, those things have still come to pass. Like they've still happened. And so the wiser I get, the more I realize I could make this journey so much more enjoyable if I just dropped the resistance. Because I actually, if it feels like a good, fun thing, if it feels like it's coming from in here, it's mine. It's mine. So yeah, you can do it. Get excited.
Yes.
And then relax.
Yeah. And don't you find too that like those little bubbly feelings, like that idea, it will come back.
Oh,
when
yeah.
you are receptive to it, right? So if you don't think about it, if you don't do anything about it, it's still going to come back. Like Carrie and I, before this call, we're just talking about my love of designer shoes, among other things. And like, if you don't know me, it might seem out of left field, but I've been into fashion since I was a kid, and I've never been able to afford it really until recently, since I have my own business. And so I'm still catching up with it. I'm still catching up with the fact that like, yeah, this is just me. Like there's nothing, I'm not trying to prove anything. I'm not trying to like, show off anything. I just really like this, not everything, but some of this stuff a lot, enough to have it. And like, I feel like as you grow in different stages of your life, you're more ready for more parts of you to integrate, more parts of you to be part of your regular life. Like if you expect yourself to stay the same all the time, regardless of how much money you make or how much stress you're under or how many people are in your household or, whatever, you're going to be really unhappy. So having a more dynamic view of who you are and allowing new things to surface or old things to come back, like that is going to help you relax a lot, right? When I work with people who are in a career change or are starting a business, I think they're so stressed out thinking they have to choose the one right thing that they're going to be doing forever. And that is just way too much pressure on yourself, right? Things lead to one another. And it's really just about going with what feels right or best now and letting that evolve from there. So again, take a deep breath, relax. You've got this. You have your higher self on your side, constantly delivering to you the pathway. And as Foodie's Delight says, it is the opposite of the contracted feeling. Your higher self feels open and gentle and easy. And it's like one thing at a time. And that is the path of least resistance for you. Obviously, having a coach can make that a lot easier because we can hear you speak in resistance and hear the higher self in you say the path of least resistance. So we're able to help guide you along that path so much clearer and faster than you could on your own. Saying this from experience as well. Carrie helps me with this. I help her with this. Obviously, I help my clients with this. And so you can relax and have a deeper confidence in yourself as you're going about your journey. But it's already done. Like, that's the cool part that I always rely on to relax when I see a big vision. You know, this year I've told just a few people, like, I had a crazy goal, goal in quotes. And I don't know how that's necessarily going to happen, but it's already done. So what am I going to stress about, right? Like, I have deep contentment for my life. And so there's nothing wrong that I'm fixing. I'm just going for more, right? So that's a really good place to be as well.
What I want to say about your big goal and just this, and I really want to address Guillaume's comment as well. What I want to say about your big goal is this is the fun part, right? Like when we have a goal, right? It's just something that like it came from inside. We got excited about it and we really want it to happen. And then I want to say forget about it, but we don't forget about it. Like it comes in all the time. But you said I have a really big goal this year. And you and I have had lots of conversations around that, like the idea of SMART goals, like and I don't even remember what the SMART stands for, but I think T has to do with a timeline, like make sure that you can do it in a certain amount of time. And the cool thing is, like, when we're aligned, like manifestation can be instantaneous. And sometimes we think something like, oh, that could totally happen in 3 months, and it takes 2 years. And it doesn't matter, because either way, as long as we keep focusing on our alignment and remembering. So it's helpful for me to, like, sometimes when I journal, I will not say I know that or I love that. I'll say I remember that, right? Like I remember that, I'm destined to have this thing or be that thing or whatever it is. And that is so helpful, because sometimes we can get in like, I thought it would happen in 3 weeks, but it's still so deeply satisfying when it happens in 10 weeks or, however long it takes. So sometimes we can get caught up on goal instead of just like remembering it's mine. It shall be. Should we talk about Guillaume for a second?
Yeah,
Or do you have
go
something
for it.
else? So Guillaume says, I have been unhappy all my life, and I know why. And so my suspicion, Guillaume, is that your goal is to be happy. And some of the things that you have mentioned to us that you want to achieve, right, are in pursuit of happiness. That if I live in this place, if I achieve this thing, if I sell this many books, if I make this much money, well, I guess maybe my question is, Guillaume, like, okay, and you know why? Like, why is it really? I'm curious for your answer to that. But also, are you willing to be happy? Are you willing to be happy? Can you get a little closer to happiness than you are now? Because if you can, that idea of happiness, that feeling of I could be happy if, right? That feeling that like comes up. Oh, I'm yawning as I'm saying it, Guillaume. That feeling is your yes.
I also think it's important to just highlight that everyone has reasons why they could be unhappy. I've got tons of reasons why I could be unhappy. Daily, what's going on in the world, something happening with family members, a way I was brought up, like my socioeconomic status when I was a, early adult. Like I mean, countless, right? There's so much, from my mail was late to there's a war or a genocide happening, right? Like, pick something and be unhappy, right? I was abused as a kid, right? Terrible, terrible. But the thing is, in this very moment, the only moment that is happening is very, very neutral. It's neutral. It's neutral positive, actually. Once you really get in there, there's a lot of positive in there. It's just pure love. But if we can't access that, that's okay. Like just being in a neutral, present time moment right here, you get to choose. Doesn't matter what's happening outside of you. Doesn't matter what happened in the past because you're not in the past right now. Doesn't matter what you're imagining for the future because the future isn't happening right now. Right now, where do you want to be? Do you want to be happy? It's right here. Be happy. There's choice in this moment. And so it doesn't matter if you've been unhappy your entire life. If you can get present, you can be happy. And maybe happy for you is like the slightest squeak of a smile, and you're smiling before you're feeling anything just to get that physiological response. But it's going to produce the chemicals that make you happy. Maybe it's finding a shiny thing in front of you. Oh, that object is beautiful. That makes me happy, right? So in the moment, you'll have the option to focus on whatever you want. And if that thing is something internal that makes you happy, it's external that makes you happy, you get to choose. But of course, we can choose unhappy because there's lots of things that we could be unhappy about. But do you want to be unhappy is the question now. Now the question is, now that you know how to be happy, do you want to be unhappy or do you want to find happiness?
That example, Rachel, makes me think of being in relationship with our significant others and how, like, underlying all of it, we know that we're loved and that we're happy, but we can get into times where we're like, this guy, right? Like, he's making me unhappy, or this behavior, or that, right? Like, I can't be happy unless. And on that same day or in that same week, we can shift where we put our focus and then be like, he is the greatest person on the planet. I am so lucky to have him, et cetera, et cetera. And so that's like always a good, I love my husband, as you guys know, but he is the person who can cause my pendulum to, and he can't do it, right? I'm doing it. He's just the mirror that is in front of me. And he is often an example for me to see, oh, what do I want to believe here? What's the actual truth here? Where do I want to put my focus? Am I willing to be happy, or do I just want to keep telling myself this story? I can do that a lot. I can tell myself a story. You were talking about coaching with us, and then I saw Guillaume's comment and we went off on a little tangent, but I want to get back to something that you said, because you said it's really great to have someone who, you didn't use the word hold up the mirror, but that's what I'm imagining. But not just any coach, right? When you have me and Rachel, or me or Rachel, you have someone who is skilled as a coach and, right, knows like the right questions to ask, etc., and highly intuitive. So I don't remember exactly what you said. You said we can see, right? Like, we can see your behavior, we can hear your words, but we can also see and hear what, like, you might not actually be expressing. And that, or at least physically expressing, that's a game changer, guys. Just wanted to toot our horn a little bit.
Yeah. So basically what you're saying is like, we feel your current vibration. If you are in resistance, but you don't think you're in resistance, which happens a lot, we know that. And it's not even just a mirror that we're putting up to you. It's your higher self looking at you. We can channel your higher self, you, your higher self, the part of you that knows exactly where everything you want is, we can illuminate that part of you so you have a greater resonance yourself, so that your relationship with your higher self is louder, it's clearer, and you are more confident acting on that information that you are getting, right? So we're never going to tell you what to do, but we can highlight, hey, you're saying this, and I think you want to be over here. How does that feel to you, right? You said this the other day, and it was really, you felt really clear. Your voice was higher. You were excited. What do you think about that now? Do you need to recalibrate to that idea, right? So we're not going to let you get lost in your head. That is the biggest thing that we're facing right now, because the world is so polarized, right? There's so many people trying to tell you what to do, think, feel, and that is way too overwhelming. When we have a singular, clear voice coming to us from our higher self, who knows exactly the path that will lead us to where we want to go, that is the only voice we should be listening to. And if you have things around you that are helping you go within you, where the only answer is, that is life-changing and so incredibly helpful on your journey. And that's why the people who work with me get what they want. So because they are listening to that, and they have help listening to that. It doesn't happen overnight, right? You'll get more of what you want along the way, but the bigger things take a little bit of time, because the journey is where you're really like deepening your groove and building your confidence and rewiring your belief systems to allow in those bigger things. But it happens, and it's awesome. You're muted.
Sorry. I'm going to say, I love that you mentioned the journey, because so much of working with us is like recognizing, I feel better. I feel better. I feel things, nothing's changed, but I feel better. I feel better. I feel better. I feel better. Oh my gosh, everything's changed. And that's so fun.
Yeah.
All right, my
well,
friend.
Guillaume, I would say go back and re-listen, because we were talking just to you. I have, this is like a hot tip for everyone. I have YouTube Premium. I know it's like $15 a month or something, but I watch a lot of YouTube, and it is absolutely life-changing. I know I just used life-changing twice in the last half an hour, but I don't see the YouTube ads, which is really helpful for me. So if you watch a lot of YouTube, it's probably worth it to have that, if you can, if that's affordable for you. Otherwise, I know it's annoying to put up with the ads, but that's what I do to get around it.
And I can't help but find the irony that as we're talking about Guillaume's resistance, right? There are more things, more signs.
Well, that's what resistance will do, right? Like resistance is real. It will physically manifest, because whatever you're focused on vibrationally physically manifests. That's why when you clear out your vibration and you get clear and high and focused on the good things that you want, it physically manifests. So that is how reality works here, which is why it's easy to manipulate when you focus on it. But anyway, we are sorry, Guillaume, that your resistant momentum did that, but we did have a great answer for you.
Well, and I'm going to yawn again when I'm talking about Guillaume. And it's perfection. And hopefully by the time you go back and listen to everything, you can laugh at that moment too.
Yes.
Rachel, our call today, the theme is you can do it.
Yes, you can do it. You can do it. Yeah.
The way to do it, get excited, relax, and know you've got it.
Yeah, and get in the moment, right? If you need resets throughout the day, which of course we all do, I do too, find the moment. Get in the moment. That will hook you up with your higher self's perspective, or at least the option to do so. And you will find more regulation, first of all, in your nervous system, and more clarity to be able to take those steps. So, and we came in with a ding. We're going out with a ding. I love it. Well, we love you. We know you can do it. If you would like some help with, with coaching, we have options for me and Carrie and Intimate Alien, all the things. We'll help you decide what is best for you when we talk. You can talk for free. Just go to rachelarchelaus.com and you'll see the coaching tab on top, and just scroll down the page and you'll see the button. So maybe we'll have a chat. We do coach together, Foodie's Delight. So we have that option where you're coaching with both of us. Yeah. So maybe we'll chat.
Yeah. All right. Let's do it. All right. See you guys.
We love you. Bye.